right, welcome Wallside sales team. This is the first ever Wallside sales podcast. So whether you're driving to an appointment or walking around or sitting in your office listening, we hope you're having a great day. We have our first guest today, and it's actually someone that came up with this idea. So we thought he would be the perfect inaugural guest on the Wallside Sales podcast as a place for you to learn new ideas and new thoughts, new things to help you better sell in the field. And that's David Malseed, who's actually rounding out his last few days in the official role as sales manager. David, welcome.
Well, thank you, Adam. I'm honored to be the first guest on the podcast and to do this with you.
Yeah, so we're excited, and ultimately we're hoping that many of you will come on and be a guest and share your learnings in this casual way with your fellow sales reps about your experience, your knowledge, and your expertise about Windows, about Wallside, and about selling to homeowners day in and day out. So we're really excited to kick this off with David and hopefully allow him to share some of his reflections over the past 4 years. So, David, a lot of this is going to be kind of a reflection back of your 4 years being the sales manager at Wallside.
Yep.
So looking back at those 4 years, what do you think some of the most significant milestones or achievements that stand out to you?
Wow, yeah, it has been probably a huge. If I had to pick 4 years of my life where I probably grew the most, this would be close to top of that list. I, I've really appreciated the ability to be able to name my projects and kind of work on them. So some of them that jump into my head are I remember I built a company map when I first came here. I know that wasn't directly for, the sales team, but it helped understand kind of the flow of Wallside and the contract. But then we moved into the sales manual, which is truly in its infinite stage. And then training of teams, that was another big one that took an entire year rolling that thing out. And then just connecting with the sales team, figuring out the right cadence of meetings and interactions with them. So, yeah, those were really kind of the big projects or pillars that jump out to me, over the last 4 years that we worked on.
Awesome. And I'm sure everyone listening and me as well know that those projects and those things that we've done have helped us move along tremendously as a company. Now, you've also probably grown a lot. Wallside's grown a lot and has changed over the last 4 years. You probably have as well. How has your approach to sales management evolved during your time at Wallside? And what were some of those key experiences that shaped that evolution?
Oh, yeah. So it's funny, I didn't have a sales manager role prior to this. I was always either business owner or, whatever. I was always in some sort of leadership role, so I wasn't sure kind of the expectations. In the beginning, I moved very quickly, and I felt like a one-man band in a lot of ways. And being with Wallside, I've learned more about what it means to be on a team, how to work with such a large team as well, how you need to move at the pace of the team. Also, how to kind of let things roll off your back in a sense. Not everything goes your way. Not everything is the way you exactly want it. And
no way, sir.
Sales reps can be very direct and demanding sometimes. And, not allowing that to, affect the direction of your day, and you just let it roll off and you keep moving.
Keep moving forward. That's all you can do.
Yes.
You mentioned a lot about team and the team aspect, especially at Wallside. We're really big on team, and really there is no I in team, and there's an I in Wallside, but ultimately this is a team sport at Wallside. What do you think your proudest moment was in leading the team, and how did that impact the company?
My proudest moment, I would say, was probably after our first annual meeting. I feel like it was probably one of the first big things that I did, where I had to plan something for the team. And I just got a lot of positive feedback after that. And I realized, hey, I'm probably on the right track here.
Sure.
And we've had similar meetings past that, and I think it kind of set the tone for those things.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely great experience, great learning opportunities for our team. So they're a huge benefit. Obviously, like you said, not everything goes your way. and there's a
Yeah.
lot of imperfections in dealing with everything that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and there are challenges that we all face. So what do you think the toughest challenge you faced at Wallside was, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. So um, a lot of different personality types at Wallside, right? Across the sales
Are you
team and
talking about my
internal
father
office.
specifically right now? I don't know. He's not in the room, but
Your dad definitely on the list.
yeah, no. You're lucky. He probably will not listen to this. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. um, so learning how to deal with the different personality types, I would say, is probably one of the bigger areas I've kind of grown in being here, and how to bring value to those individuals as well. I had a coach tell me once that when I'm in a situation where afterwards it just went awry, it wasn't a good conversation, or to be more curious about that situation, to look at it through the eyes of, hey, um, what truly happened there, kind of distill the different components of all of that, instead of having an emotional reaction to it, which a lot of us tend to have, like, oh,
Sure.
you know, oh, I failed at that or whatever. It's more of a curious type of approach to it.
Got it.
I
Oh,
am.
yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. Um, what's a lesson you learned during your tenure that you think will carry with you as you move forward in your career?
I think I kind of touched on this a little bit in one of the earlier questions about um,
I'm repeating myself now.
yeah,
I'm kidding.
no, meaning like I'm not a single individual, right?
Sure,
It really is a team aspect, and then working with a team, it can be so rewarding, right? You
sure,
have different personalities, different talents and skills, and people able to contribute and do things you can't necessarily do alone.
sure.
Um, yeah. So in the future, looking for
That's huge.
those
And our
dynamics.
sales reps in a lot of ways sometimes can feel like they're islands. They're the ones that are going by themselves to go
Yes.
sell the windows day in and day out. I know one of the things that you did over the past 4 years was get in the car, get on the road, and go out with some of our sales reps. So, what are some of those memories or lasting items that you remember from being on the road in the homes with sales reps?
Yeah. I mean, the first person I rode with was Dan Seaman.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going into this house, the lady didn't turn on her air conditioning, and it was 80 degrees out. We were sweating. And
Did he
Dan,
make you carry the sample in or no?
I think I made him let me do it,
Okay.
because I didn't want to just be the guy,
Yeah, yeah.
poking around. Um, he ended up making the sale, but afterwards, I remember he took me out to lunch, or we went out to lunch and just had a really great conversation. It was a really good way to set the tone as the sales manager, kind of moving forward, understanding what those relationships look like.
Sure.
Um, but I've seen a lot over my 4 years.
Yeah.
Talked to a lot of different people, different customers, lots of awesome stories, lots of funny stories. So yeah,
We'll bring that up on another time for another
yeah,
podcast. That should be the topic of another one. Is what's the craziest story? That's the
yeah, yeah.
craziest thing you've seen in at a customer's home. I'm
Right,
sure
right,
someone that may not be safe for the workplace.
yeah.
Um, as we look toward the future, and what do you think the most lasting impact you've had on the company, both in terms of culture and ultimately result?
Um, that's always a hard one to say, right?
Sure. Yeah.
The I felt like when I first came into the company, maybe I was an odd duck almost, like going against the stream of normal thought. But over the last 4 years, I've changed my thinking a little bit, but I think other people around me have also changed their thinking and kind of started moving in unison with that. More forward thinking, more digital approaches to things. I mean,
Sure.
obviously, we're going through that huge change right now, so
Yeah.
the whole company has to think about that. But
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
yeah,
And sometimes it comes back to working smart, not necessarily always working hard, right?
yeah,
Thinking about the right, the smart way of handling an issue.
yeah, yep. Absolutely.
I mean, in a lot of ways, you brought in some initiative or processes and really brought it to us. Think about the different ways that we do changes now, or submit photos, or
Hmm.
ask for supplies.
Yeah.
Which ones are you the most proud of, and which ones do you hope will continue to benefit Wallside into the future?
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up because I actually had forgotten about that. The job form with the changes. That was a simple thing to do, but I think it had the biggest impact. So the bang for the buck,
Yeah,
that was the biggest one. And then when we did the automatic replies out of Salesforce, and we took a lot of work off of Jane's plate with that,
yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
it was really
That was
cool.
exciting.
Now you get hounded by Salesforce emails, you all the reps out there reminding you first time, second time when there's an
Yeah.
emergency, it stays on you.
I apologize in advance for that, but you were getting them anyway. You were
Yeah,
getting them
right.
from Jane, so
Yeah, it
it
was
doesn't
happening
matter.
one
So,
way or the other.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we always say, if we ask the customer if they're happy and they tell us no, well, they were an unhappy customer anyway. So
yep,
we're just we're just uncovering it. So that's a big part of what we try to do is create the process to make it better.
yes, exactly.
Uh, so how was your time, like looking back over 4 years? How was your time with Wallsite contributed to your personal and professional growth?
Mm. I haven't talked about this much with the sales team, but one thing that you, Adam, and your family have offered to all the sales reps is professional coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to engage with a personal coach on a regular basis, which has been huge, right? He's was able to take a lot of things professionally to him. And then in the last year as well, sales coach, right? So I've gotten a lot of professional pouring into me over the last 4 years, not to mention the leaders within Wallside.
Sure.
So personally, I have grown tremendously here in a lot of ways. Sales acumen, business acumen, people skills, stuff like that. So thank you for that. It's been huge. So
Well,
yeah,
it's an investment.
yeah.
And we're pouring a lot in, and there were a lot of things pouring into you. What are those specific skills or values you think you've developed here? Looking back 4 years ago to today, what are some of those things that you say I've really honed in on specifically and helped grow?
Yeah. So I would say again, it reflects back to interacting with individuals, right? There is lots of different types of interactions. You have your customer interactions. What does that look like? How do you take an upset customer to a happy customer? That's a skill set. How do you talk with a sales rep that's worked here 20 years and has a problem,
Sure.
right? How do you talk to a sales rep that's worked here 1 year and has a problem, right? How do you talk to your coworkers and all of that? And it's all different types of
Sure.
conversations and skills. And um, just being able to navigate all of those, I guess that would be a specific example of what I've leaned on these other folks to help me with. So
Great.
yeah,
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 and that's a great point because we all could get better. And there's
hmm,
challenges that we all face with interacting with in the same way that it's talking to different sales reps, different customers, different coworkers. You as our sales reps are interacting with different people all day. And you're
yeah,
interacting with people in the office all day that are here to
yeah,
support you. So we all can learn about better ways to communicate because everybody communicates differently,
right,
right?
yeah,
Everyone has their own styles, and that's kind of one of those things. Is how do we make sure that we're getting our message across in the right way,
hmm,
especially with customers? How do you connect with them?
yeah,
So
yep, yep,
there's different in some ways. There's different ways of doing it with each one. Um, so we'll obviously miss you a lot
yeah,
as you depart.
yeah,
What will you miss about us? Uh, and what will you miss about working at Wallside?
yeah. I mean, the rest of the podcast could just be on this one question, right? Like I could list it all out. And thinking about it, this is going to sound, I don't know, sappy maybe, but what I'm going to miss the most is working directly with the owners of a company, with you,
Hmm.
Adam. I've always felt like it was like I could move the needle
Yeah,
and then I could contribute in a big way. I always felt a lot of fulfillment in my work. I'm hoping that I get that in my next
sure.
workplace. Um, that in the team. Like the
Yeah.
sales reps, they're awesome. They really are an awesome
Yeah.
sales team, and they never they roll with the punches the same with the rest of us, and they can be direct, but they're also very kind.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What aspects of the role over the last 4 years have been the most rewarding for you personally?
Um, the aspects of the role really that have been most rewarding uh, is similar to what I answered there, right?
Sure.
Where I,
Yeah.
I can walk in, I can have a vision of something that I think would help the team. I can walk into your office and other people's offices and say, hey, I'm going to work on this. What do you think? Get some
Yeah.
feedback and then execute on it and work on it. It's been a great way to work for sure.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look to the future. Obviously, we're at an inflection point. 80 years in business too at Wallside, so our company's an inflection point. We're working on a lot of different initiatives. All this is great, exciting things, and we'll be looking for at some point in the near future a new team member to join us. If you could offer one piece of advice to that person, whomever it may be,
Yeah.
what would you give them? What's the advice? They walk in day one and I say, call David Malseed. He's got some advice for you. what would you tell them?
Yeah. So first and foremost, um, watch and listen.
Yeah.
That's going to be an important aspect out of the beginning. Um, learn the process. This is a first, 1 to 3 months kind of thing, and then after that, be patient, dream big, and go hard.
Yeah.
Because it's a good place for that.
Yeah. Dream big, go hard. I like it.
Yep.
Wherever that person may be, they may be calling you to get that same advice. So dream
right.
big, go hard.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to learn here. So,
Yep.
Now for you personally, you're moving on to the next chapter in your career.
Mm-hmm.
What are you excited about? And how do you plan to apply what you've learned at Wallside over the past 4 years to your next endeavor?
Yeah. Well, in my next endeavor, I will still be in a similar role of sales management. So a lot of these principles will apply over there. So it'll translate one to one. I'm also excited about entrepreneurial endeavors,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, sure.
So the sales reps, I'm always jealous of you guys that you're your own boss. You're in the field. You have your destiny in your own hands. So I share in that love of that. So
Sure. Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
exciting, and obviously we continue to wish you well.
Yeah.
What message would you? Well, I'm going to ask this in two parts. So
Yeah.
first off, what message would you want to leave to the sales reps? Pieces of advice or messages that you'd want to leave with them, maybe as ways to remember you or advice about the future.
Yeah. So you guys will be missed. That's first and foremost. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with each and every one of you. You have all played a role in my life over the last 4 years, and you guys are the best. You're the most supportive team a person could ask for. Anyone stepping into this position because of you guys it's a cakewalk. I know the team. They like to call me and they say, Dave, I know your job's the hardest. I know you get all the calls, you get all the crap, but it's not. It's really not. Just as long as you guys are patient with the next sales manager and able to work with him or her and kind of work through that plays a huge role in the success of that person. So
Sure.
Yeah.
What message would you want to leave the overall Wallside team at large? We have 450 people working here in the office. Obviously, our sales reps who are listening to this. But over the last 4 years, we've also worked with our measure technicians, our installers, our service technicians, plus all of our employees here. So, what's the message you want to leave to them?
I think what was required of you in the past will not be what's required of you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who said that. I know that's a famous saying, but it's so
Yeah.
true. Um, that Wallside is taking a step into really the next phase of its growth with the new technology coming in. So keeping an open mind
Yeah,
and
sure.
being ready to learn and grow with it.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Although what's required still is hard work, patience, commitment to do the right thing,
Yeah.
showing up each and every day, having the right attitude. Really our core values.
Funny how that never goes out of
Yeah,
style,
never.
regardless of what's
I
happening.
give an orientation
Yeah.
almost every week now to new employees that are coming and onboarding. I tell them the same thing, and it's really probably the same thing that my grandfather said 80 years ago
Yeah.
to his customers and to his team members, that doing the right thing every day, committing to the job in hand,
Yeah.
having the right attitude, and then focusing on the future.
Yep.
So I'll give you the last parting thoughts. Looking ahead, now you're going to be coming from a different vantage point, one maybe a little bit more detached. But how do you see the future of Wallside? And what are your hopes for Wallside as you are watching now from the sidelines?
Yeah. Man, so that's a dangerous question to ask me because
I'm looking at you right now.
well, yeah. I can dream big. Yeah, I
Sure.
can do those things, but um, it is it. I cannot wait to call Adam in 5 years' time. Hopefully, he'll still take my call and see the change and growth in Wallside. There's so much opportunity still locally here, but just growing the footprint throughout more of Ohio and kind of adopting all these new tools.
Sure.
I think it's just going to open up Wallside tremendously for the next 80-year growth. It is just getting started. Wallside is just getting started.
It's funny to say that about an 80-year-old company.
Yeah.
So well, that's the exciting thing about what we want to do here is we're building it for the future too.
Yeah.
For the next generation and beyond. So it's true. We are. You couldn't have said it better, and I couldn't have said it any better myself either. Wallside's just getting started. So, David, thanks for a great 4 years. Obviously, don't be a stranger. I will take your call, but
Okay.
hopefully you won't be a stranger as well, and we continue a relationship, and hopefully you will with the rest of our sales team, and and learn from each other. So we've also you talked a lot about what you've learned from being here and the experience over the last 4 years, but the feeling is mutual. We've learned a tremendous amount from you. You've brought a tremendous amount of new tools, a focus on AI especially, and just kind of constantly thinking about the future. So really appreciate everything that you've brought to Wallside over the past 4 years. So
Cool.
thanks for being the inaugural guest on the Wallside podcast. Thank you, Sonny, who's in our IT team, for being the producer today. He's sitting right here. So you're gonna have to add a laugh track in to get the right vibe going for some of my jokes. Anyway, to our sales reps in the field, thank you for listening. We appreciate you making it all the way through, and we look forward to really hopefully doing this again. The idea here is to get your knowledge and share it with others in a great way, and doing it in a way for you to listen to it while you're on the road or at home or wherever. So wherever you are, hopefully you're rolling up to a home right now and about to make a sale, but wherever you are, have a great day and make it a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.
All right.